Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Moeke, Swedish whiskey girl, and today we are here with Crabbies Yardhead. It's almost like another one of those hashtag support your local series that I did before, because this is a very local brand to Edinburgh, of course. So Crabbies is a brand here in the UK that might be mostly known for its ginger beer and ginger wine. Oh, and of course, before we start, thank you to the team at Yardhead for sending me this bottle to try. I haven't tried it in ages, so of course, fascinating to be able to try it again. And John Crabbies, who has quite a history with whiskey and with Leith here in Edinburgh, he created a ginger wine and a whiskey cocktail called the Whiskey Mac, which is one of the world's first whiskey cocktails, I believe. So a lot of kind of fun history to look into with the Crabbies as well. But this is the Yardhead. They are planning a distillery in Edinburgh, so hopefully we'll get to hear more about that soon. And in the meantime, they've bottled some whiskies from unknown distilleries, and this is one of those that is an unaged statement, bottled at 40%, and it's called a Yardhead because the kind of original place for Crabbies was Yardheads down in Leith. So yeah, we're going to have a little look at this whiskey, and I'm also going to make a little Whiskey Mac because this whiskey, they've said, is kind of made to be used in cocktails. So one of those ways to kind of bring whiskey to maybe a new consumer. But I mean, I like my whiskey anyway, so let's have a look on it neat first. It's almost quite doughy, like you're baking some sweet dough. Also quite tropical, a little bit pear, a little bit pineapple, I would probably say. Yeah, pineapple and pear. And cinnamon. Cinnamon, pineapple, pear, and sweet dough. But I think the dominant thing is that it's quite fresh and quite fresh and tropical. I don't know if my brain's tricking me, but it reminds me a little bit of ginger beer almost, because it's quite a little bit spice mixing with this kind of tropical notes. And of course ginger beer is primarily ginger, but it's quite a refreshing taste to it. So I could definitely imagine this going really, really well with some ginger wine or ginger beer. But let's have a taste first. Sláinte Skål. First thing I get on the palate is that it feels quite refreshing, but it also has a maltiness that almost reminds me of the kind of same maltiness you might find in Monkey Shoulder. It's a maltiness that it's not part of my favourite kind of range of flavours, but what I like about that maltiness in this whiskey is that it doesn't feel too dry, because that's usually what I have the most problem with. I mean, I'm not saying I dislike the flavour altogether, but if I taste it, it's usually in a whiskey that I'm like, maybe not for me as much as others, but yeah. So that's a fruitiness. I wouldn't say it's overly tropical on the palate, but it's like cinnamon and ginger still on the palate, and that maltiness, but it still feels quite refreshing. And there's like a bitter note as well. And I think it's interesting because a few of the brands I know are marketing their whiskey as something used in cocktails have had this kind of malty bitterness, and I wonder if that's intentional, because of course in a cocktail you want a little bit of a bitterness, which is why you usually use bitters, because it kind of changes the flavour balance in your drink. And for that purpose, I think that slight bitterness is good to have in a cocktail. Still very tropical on the palate, on the nose, I would say. I wouldn't say it's very sharp, but it's that malty bitterness surrounded by something quite fruity. It's like red apples maybe, that feel quite refreshing. Interesting. Well, we are gonna make a little drink. I'm gonna pour this into my pre-prepared glass with a little ice cube. Maybe we should top it up with a little bit more whiskey. And what it said is that you could, of course, do it whatever way you want it. I like it with a bit of an ice cube in it. And then I have this Crabbies green ginger wine. No artificial sweeteners or flavours. It's at 13.5% ABV. Yeah. So let's add a little bit of that. Equal measures wine and whiskey. And then hopefully this will cool a little bit. Almost looks like absinthe now because it got this kind of greeny colour. I don't know if you can see it. Smells lovely. Very ginger, winey. I mean, if you like ginger, it's lovely. It's refreshing, has a bit of spice to it. I mean, you're not getting as much of the kind of malty vegetal note coming through because of the ginger wine, but I could see it as a component that just makes it, that balance of flavours maybe a little bit better, because you don't want something that's too sweet, but you also don't want something that's too robust. So yeah, I like a ginger whiskey, or what's it called? A whiskey mac? Ginger mac? I can't remember, but I didn't used to like ginger at all, but I think thanks to whiskey and ginger drinks, I started to like ginger. So that's a good thing because ginger is so healthy for you. Yeah, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried the Crabbies Yardhead, or have you perhaps tried another of the expressions from Crabbies? And are you excited about their upcoming distillery? Please let me know in the comment section here below. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All the information is of course in the section here below, as well as links to my Teespring shop, my Patreon, my website and my Instagram if you're curious about that. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. I'm so grateful you want to continue to support me on my whiskey journey. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.